Hello and welcome to our lesson on the real number system. This is Unit 1, Lesson 1, and our objectives are going to be to determine what set a number belongs to and to determine if number sets are closed under operations. And we'll get more to that later. But first, let's start with our key vocab. I'm actually going to start down here at the bottom and we're going to work our way up here. So on the very bottom we have natural numbers, and as you can see there's a little picture next to the natural numbers of a little kid, and he is counting kittens and he's starting with 1. The natural numbers are naturally occurring. I also like to call them counting numbers. So I'm going to write on here counting numbers. And they are positive whole numbers, and it does not include 0, because when you start counting, you don't start counting at 0 if I want you to count something up, or if a little kid is going to count something, they're going to start with 1. So these are positive whole numbers. Not including 0. Next we have the whole numbers. And whole numbers you may be familiar with. Whole numbers have no negative numbers and no decimals. If you look to the left there, there is a picture of a hole, because if you took 0 and threw it on the ground, it would look like a hole, like you could trip in or step in, like whole, H-O-L-E. That's a good way to remember the whole numbers, that it does include 0. So it's all of the counting numbers plus 0. But for our definition, I'm going to write no negatives, no decimals. Next, we have the integers. Integers can be positive or negative, but they can't have decimals. I think of integers as what we would label a number line with. So we still don't have any decimals, but they can be positive or negative. So still no decimals yet. Next we have the rational numbers. Rational numbers are any numbers that you can write as a fraction, and this will include repeating decimals and terminating or ending decimals. So now we can have decimals, because this rational number is any number that can be written as a fraction. Sorry for my handwriting on here, I'm still getting used to this. Okay, so when we think of someone that is rational, we can predict them. It's like it has a pattern, we know what's happening, or we know when it will end. So that is one way to think of a rational number, as a predictable number. That does include repeating. So for example, if you have 1.777 repeating, that line means repeating, that is a rational number because we can predict the pattern. Moving on to irrational numbers now, we can think of those as a irrational person. If someone is telling you that you are being irrational, it's they can't predict what you're going to do next. So there's no pattern and no predictability. So these numbers cannot be written as fractions, and they're decimals that are going to go on forever and ever. So they can't be written as a fraction. So no pattern to these. The most famous one is pi, because it goes on and on and on forever and ever and ever. We cannot predict its pattern, and that's why that little guy is over on the side there. All of these numbers fall under the umbrella of real numbers, and a real number is any and all numbers that we know. There are imaginary numbers, we are not worried about those. So this is our big old umbrella. These are any numbers we know. This graphic organizer here is a really good picture of how the real number system is organized. So every set of numbers, as you can see, is a real number. The irrational numbers are kind of off on their own. They're to the side. Irrational numbers don't have anything in common with any of the other sets of numbers. And remember, we've got things in the irrational numbers like pi, or numbers that we don't know what the pattern is. It just goes on forever and ever and ever, and we can't predict it, no pattern. So we could not write that number as a fraction. Natural numbers, remember that the counting numbers, we could put any number in here we want to, big numbers, little numbers, no decimals, no negatives, also not 0. And we want to organize these numbers, when we're organizing numbers, into the smallest category that they fit into. For example, 12 is also a whole number, and it's an integer, and it's a rational number. That is how this system works. It's like those dolls that stack into each other. So we're going to put it into the smallest category that it can possibly fit into when we organize them. I also like to think of it as all toast is bread, but not all bread is toast, and that's why we have these different categories here. So all of these natural numbers are whole numbers, but not every whole number is a natural number. And our example of that is 0. And then integers, we've got our negatives that'll go in here. Whatever numbers you like. And our rational numbers, those are our fractions that are repeating or ending decimals. So we can have 1.6 repeating, 3/4, 1.8, whatever we like. This is a really good graphic organizer and visual for the real number system. You can see how they all fall in line with one another here. All right, for this portion, I would like you to pause when you answer these, and then I will go over them so you can have some practice and see if you can remember or think of where these things would fall. It might be a good idea to refer back to that graphic organizer or sketch one for yourself in your notes when you think about this. So go ahead and pause now. All right, and I'm going to assume that you paused and that you came back, and we'll go over these together. A rational number is also an integer. Sometimes. They can sometimes be integers. Sometimes they won't be. So an example of a rational number could be -1.12. It ends, it's rational. It's not an integer because there's a decimal there. Just because it's negative does not mean it's always an integer. Number 2, an integer can be irrational. No, never. Remember, irrational numbers don't have anything in common with any of our other sets of numbers besides their real numbers. And then last, natural numbers are also whole numbers, always. Every natural number fits into the whole number. There are no natural numbers that you can think of that would not also be a whole number. And the only whole number that is not a natural number is 0. So some good practice there. Next, I want to talk about the closure property. So this property says that a set is closed under an operation if it always produces an element of the same set. Now that's a little confusing when you read the math definition. It's probably easier to just do some examples. So first example, it says integers are closed under multiplication. Is that true or false? That is true. Any two integers that you're going to multiply, it's going to give you another integer. Remember, integers can be positive or negative. They can't have decimals. So if you multiply those together, you're going to keep getting the same one of the same set. Next one says that natural numbers are closed under subtraction. And that is false. So if you take a natural number minus a natural number, you might not always get a natural number. Here's an example. 2 minus 3 is -1. -1 is not a natural number. So this is not a closed set under subtraction. Even numbers are closed under addition. This is true. Any two even numbers is going to give you another even number when you add them together. If you don't believe me, think of as many even numbers as you want to and add them together. If you want to pass some time, you'll find that they all have equal sums, which is the answer to an addition problem. And last, irrational numbers are closed under division. Now this one you might think, how am I supposed to know? I don't even know that many irrational numbers. Let's talk about the one that we do know. This is false, by the way. We know that pi is an irrational number. If we take pi divided by pi, we get 1. And 1 is a natural number. So this is not closed under division. This is the last slide here that I have for 1.1, the real number system, or rational and irrational numbers. The assignment that goes with this is on Google Classroom for you. If you have any questions about the lesson, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You know how to get a hold of me. You can email me or send me something on Google Classroom and I will get back to you.